This is FalconAI, and this is how you would run our product. Start by downloading the product from wherever the source is, and then navigate to wherever the product downloaded and extract all of the content. Okay. From here, you should see a folder that's titled D2 Group L Final Product. Inside the folder, you see these 5 specific files, as well as a README file titled README Falcon AI. Inside the README file, you see instructions for how to use the tool, but we'll also go through how to use the tool in this video. Next, you want to navigate to your specific Python interface of choice. I choose Spider for this purpose, and you want to make sure this directory is set wherever you downloaded the project to be within that folder. So I'm going within the 2 folders that are created, and I'm going to select this folder to be the one that we're working with. From here, we can go ahead and run the RunMe file. That will go ahead and start running the program, which I will also open so we can look at what it does. The RunMe file essentially takes the other 3 of the 4 programs from the file that you download and runs them in sequential order to make sure that the product is developed and outputs the necessary data appropriately. First, it conducts this data scrape merge final.py, which is what does all of the data scraping. It pulls from 4 separate websites and creates a number of Excel spreadsheets throughout its data scraping process that shows the information in different ways and even merges that information. Then it runs our 2 user interface aspects. The first user interface is showing a merged file of all of the data for the user to peruse, and the other one is looking at the specific visualization tools. Now that the program has finished running, we're actually going to start by going back and looking at that folder that we downloaded earlier. When we go back to the D2 Group L final project, or whatever you've renamed this file to be, we see that there has now come 6 new Excel files have appeared in this folder. So each of these Excel files has information that the user can look at any point. For example, if we open the merge vellum Excel file, the user can look at the table, the cleaned table that is outputted specifically from the practices of scraping and formatting the vellum tool. We also see the same thing for our Wikipedia source, the useful information coming from Wikipedia, the AA source, all of the useful information coming from this web scrape. You'll notice that there are a lot of different tools on this one specifically. The output may not necessarily output all of these tools as important, but it's cool context in case the user wants to go back and look at some of the tools that aren't necessarily included in visualizations. Next, we can look at our 2 visualizations tools. If you notice from running the program on Spider, you see that it explains when each of the steps is finished, and this display table tool actually displays this, which is a merged data viewer. It essentially takes all 4 of the sources together and then outputs the most relevant model names coming from each of these sources, as well as a combination of the relevant attributes of each of these models. You can see that the NaN is indicated for places where perhaps the model does not have that information from the source that it was pulled from. There's a number of different tools and a number of different attributes that you can scroll back and forth on this table to observe. This is mainly there as a tool for the user to look at to do their own sort of research and compilation of data from multiple different data sources. The other visualization tool is this industry and Excel visualizer, which pops up as a result of the GUI.py file. To interact with this, the first page, which is the industry use case selector, you're able to select the industry you're in. You can start typing, but only the drop-down options will pop up. So say we want to talk about education, as well as the company size. There are 4 options for the company size. Say we want to do 201 to 500 employees. Then we click filter models, and it will rank the models based on different features. Shreya, do you want to talk a bit about the ranking mechanism real quick?
Sure. So depending upon the industry, we have a specific set of columns that are prioritized. And for based on the company size, like small companies, we have like the low input price. We're taking considering that instead because they'll probably have lesser amount to spend on that. And then the top 10 models, looking at our scrape data, is selected with our logic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you change the industry and the company size, you'll see that these ranked options do change. This isn't a table showing all of the information from all of the merged data sources. It's just some of the most critical pieces of information that a user might want to see when they see their ranked options. For example, the price, the quality index, how a human has evaluated the tool, and things like that. If they want more information, that's why we have that merged data set table pop up. They can go and see some of the other columns, perhaps for their first, second, and third recommended, or they can even go to some of the other specific tables that are outputted in the Excel files in the main file, in the main folder. The other visualization tool is this Excel visualizer. Shreya, would you like to walk us through this as well?
So the first thing that we'll be doing is loading the Excel file, which is generated from the data graph.
And this one is just not in the proper folder. So whenever you click on that load in Excel file, you should navigate to wherever you downloaded and are running the specific folder of our tool, and then look at specifically the files that were generated from that first code that does all of data scraping and merging. And we take the combined LLM data, I believe. Yeah. From there,
Mhm. Yeah. So once we click on each visualization, we have three options. We have distribution of performance metrics, which kind of gives like an overview of how it looks like and creates like a bar chart on quality index, chatbot, V9, etc. Our next visualization is creator comparison. So we're looking at all the models that are we have from the scrape data, and we're checking them, looking at the top 10 creators based on performance metrics. And then by model is looking deeper. So each company will have specific models which performs differently, and this is just the visualization and comparing all of that.
awesome. That's a brief demo of how to operate our tool. A couple of the important things to remember is to make sure you're operating from the specific directory that you download our tool into, and that there is a little bit of effort that must be done to get the proper visualizations where you have to load the Excel file before you click on any of these other visualization buttons. It will warn you if you don't do this properly, but make sure to load the proper Excel file. Thank you.